Did you look at the last one posted? No. I'm almost positive it's 67.
I think it is too. Yeah, it is 67.
67?
Yeah. Because I thought the draft night was 65, but that was a special. So last week was 60. Oh, wait. So that must mean this would be 66. Nope. That was you. Yeah.
Call it 66 and a half.
Yeah. Does it really matter?
No, it's playing. Okay, so we're live.
All right. All right, welcome everyone to another Jags podcast, episode 66, we're going to say.
Ish. There were some discrepancies.
Yeah.
But we think this is right.
We're committed to 66, so that's where we're at.
Correct us if we're wrong.
Tonight we are going to be talking about a lot of the Twitter questions that were submitted by our listeners. If we have time, we'll touch on the Telvin Smith saga, which is getting stranger and stranger by the day, as well as rookie minicamp, which is starting next week. I'm not sure how much there really is to discuss about that, but we'll do our best. Before we get into all of that good stuff, we want to remind everyone that we are on Twitter at Another Jags Pod and Facebook and Instagram at Another Jags Podcast, as well as YouTube. Search Another Jags Podcast. You can find us there. We're streaming right now live.
You can go back on YouTube and watch our video.
Right. You can.
Always there, always available.
I go back and watch, for the zoom in on me.
Brent Papino says, I hear Jason, but I can't really see him. That's probably for the better.
Well, that's an
Joey
issue.
or Jason?
Exactly. I mean,
all right,
this is a trip because I can see us on your phone, and I'm going to stare at that the entire time.
I'll turn it off. I just
No, but you got to see alerts. You got to see questions.
Yeah, I can flip this back
I have
on.
another question. Why do you have two phones?
He's a baller.
This is an old phone that I use for Wi-Fi.
Oh, so just like a mini tablet.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yes. It's a 6S, so it's real old, but it still runs.
I'm lost.
Twice the size of my phone.
Let's get to it because I don't know what we're talking about. If you can't tell on YouTube, by the way, we are sitting extremely close to one another.
You can't tell.
It's a little awkward, but these are the sacrifices that we make for.
I offered to sit in your lap, James, and you
podcast.
said no. So, I mean, let's not complain about it
Yes,
now.
I did. And you can tell everybody that I said no. That is not a secret. Jason, do we have any... It's let's admit, it's a little bit of a slow news week. Not a lot going on. I feel like the excitement from the draft has died down a little bit. There's been talk about Yannick Ngakoue and are the Jags going to, extend his contract. Maybe someone even asked a question about that. I'm not sure. But, it's we're in that place. The news cycle is slowing down a little bit where now the offseason feels like an offseason. So,
But we're still here.
of course.
We're not going anywhere.
Where else will we be?
Honestly, at this point, though, it's like refreshing that like the draft is done. We know what we have. We might pick up some people possibly during training camp when other teams drop people, but it's good to know like where we're at, like what we're missing, what we're not, what we're going into battle with. I mean, we have it at this point pretty much. So
I would disagree with that. But
you think so?
Yeah.
Well, amazing. So
take long.
let's start from there,
I mean,
Jason.
You think we're going to roll into the season at safety the way that we are now?
I do actually.
Wide receiver?
Yes.
I think safety is our thinnest position. I mean, who's your starting?
No, you're
who's your
right.
two starting safeties? Jared Wilson and Ronnie Harrison.
Yeah.
Your two starting safeties are Jared
Yes,
Wilson. That's
but-
all.
Second year and what was Jared Wilson? Was he undrafted free agent signing?
Okay.
I don't. Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. I don't think we're going to be upgrading any of our positions at this point. We might be adding depth, or we might be adding somebody who's going to compete for a job, but we're not upgrading anybody at this point. So with that being said, you can't really like bank on that. We're kind of going into it with what we have right now.
In fear of stepping on Twitter question toes, would Michael
All right.
Crabtree be an upgraded receiver?
I mentioned him like 7-8 months ago or weeks ago. So yes, I don't necessarily think he would be an upgrade. You can look back, James. I did. I saw that face.
No, I did.
I think everybody else did as well.
That was a very subtle plug for yourself there. I like
It wasn't subtle at all. But I do think he might be. I mean, he might be the guy that you throw on a 1-year contract that still wants to be in the league, that still wants to play. And, I mean, the guy never quite lived up to his potential, but he still has the potential to be a baller, I think. So, yeah, he might be an upgrade over our third or fourth receiver. Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't think we upgrade receiver.
Do you think we get anybody?
We might add some depth, maybe. Even. I mean, who were we just talking about just now?
Crabtree.
Crabtree. If Crabtree comes in, where is he going to be? Third maybe? Do you think he gets the second spot? I mean, he's not that good.
He's better than Cole and Chark.
Maybe Chark beats him. Maybe Conley beats him.
Maybe exactly, or maybe he pushes them to
I think
do
he's
better.
as good as Conley and Chark and all those. I mean, Crabtree's not upgrading you that much, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like he's a good receiver, but if they're going to spend money, I mean, I think I've already said I think they've got to go safety. You got to get a guy at safety. I mean,
I think we just did like a cannonball into the pool. Let's go to the Twitter questions and maybe revert back to
all
that.
Right,
All right,
that's
yeah.
fine. This question is from Ben Barbanera, and he's at Ben Barbanera, and he says, any interest in the Jags picking up Eric Berry or Morris Claiborne? And yes, I intentionally went to that question.
Yeah.
After that.
Well, why don't you answer that?
Okay. I think it would be awesome to have Eric Berry. I don't think Morris Claiborne's a corner, so I don't think we would even have a need for a corner at this point.
No.
But Eric Berry, I mean, if you can get him on the thing is, what's his deal going to look like? I mean, his last deal he signed, I know it's a different person, but it was like 7 years, like $68 million or something, like 5 years, or something crazy like that. And I just, what are you going to be able to get him? Are you going to be on for a 2-year deal? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. He might be a little bit outside of our paycheck right now.
I would love to get him. I mean, his whole story, his play, his stats. I'm not going to go into backstory, James, because the stats are better than the backstory.
Anyway,
man, I mean, he recovered from like cancer, man. That's amazing. He came back and did it all. I mean, and the guy's a great player, but I have to go to Jason. We don't have the money for a guy like that unless he's looking just wants to come to Jacksonville because our defense is so good and like sees his spot in that being like, hey, I've got these corners that are amazing. I've got this defensive line that's amazing. I can like ball for a couple years and retire. But that would have to be like almost like a hometown deal, not in your hometown. So I would love it though. I mean, but I don't think it's happening.
No, I don't either. Obviously, it would be a huge get, but I don't think it's a realistic possibility.
It would be, I mean.
Backstory for days, though. Backstory for days.
I mean, add to the backstory. Like, be like forward story. I don't know what that is.
It would just be absolutely amazing to get a guy that could be like add to our defense, where it's like a Pro Bowl caliber guy, but I don't think it's
plus like
Real
a strong
presence.
a locker
Leader in the
room guy
locker
too. I mean, that guy's never had issues whatsoever. So,
we have any Tennessee connections? Doesn't he play there?
yeah, he definitely played in Tennessee.
I don't think we do.
I don't think we have
for a reason.
Okay, Gator fan.
I'm trying to think of who are the other free agent safeties? I mean, a guy like Tayshaun Gibson got snatched up. So I mean, what's going to be out there on the free agency?
Still a head scratcher that they let him go.
I think it really does go back to that. They should have kept him, man.
I think him walking is like kind of the biggest indicator that they are really like Jared Wilson and Ronnie Harrison. It's just uncomfortable for me to go into the season like that. So I hope they're right. Is I guess my answer.
I think the key to the safeties is going to be the defensive line. You know, if the defensive line can step up and be what they were 2 years ago, put pressure on the quarterback, it's going to make a second-year safety in Harrison and a relatively unknown in Wilson their job a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
And with that, they're going to be also leaning on the fact that they have Ramsey and Boye playing outside. I mean, that is a huge benefit to any safety. So I think they're banking on all those things. But yeah, I mean, it is a thin position, very thin. There's no depth there at all. I mean, you could say that really about it's the thinnest. I'll say that it's the thinnest.
Without a doubt, receiver is pretty thin too. I agree. And
tight end's
pretty thin. Yeah.
But I think safety is the thinnest. That's where I was going to.
Middle linebacker's pretty thin. Running back's pretty thin.
Running back.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Check that one off the list.
You might have a point with linebackers, but middle linebacker, how many snaps is he going to play?
Well, I mean, again, they signed like 18 linebackers this week, so
yeah, and I mean they're not going
to
play a lot of just straight base defense. Who knows what they're going to do this year?
I mean, the reason
they can come out in a 3-4 next year. I mean,
I think they're going to 1-10-1. You know, just one defensive lineman.
That would be 12 people.
12. Okay, 1-9-1.
There
Sorry,
you go.
1-9-1. Ruined my joke. Math gets me every time.
Who's the one?
Yeah, Jalen. He's
All
never
right,
coming off the
perfect. I mean, I think that they are okay with that safety positioning is because of exactly what James said. Anybody that comes into the Jaguars playing safety, that's the best job like ever. I mean, you have a defensive line that's going to put the most amount of pressure on a quarterback out of the entire league, at least I hope, based on the way they drafted things. You got two corners that are going to shut down. Where are you going to chuck the ball if you're under pressure and have to get rid of it? I mean,
into Jalen's hands.
Yeah, into somebody's hands, and if all you have to do is not like really mess up at safety. You don't have to be good. You don't have to be amazing. You just have to like, be average, and you're going to look like you're great.
There was also undrafted free agent Zedrick Woods out of Ole Miss, who a lot of people like. He's a safety. He is like a good ball hawking skills. I think he had 8 interceptions in 2 years. I think he had 51 tackles. I'm trying to remember a tweet we had. but he retweeted it, so he must think he's good as well.
He's going to make
so
the team.
Thanks, Zedric.
Yeah.
I did completely forget about Zed.
Zed's dead.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
But no, I mean, he's an undrafted free agent. I mean, we talked last week about how we got all hyped about these dudes that we never saw.
We did
again.
last year.
But I think this year's a different team, though, because like last year we were like set everywhere. I mean, think about.
We thought we were.
We thought we were,
Yeah.
right. Going into the season, there's nowhere we're like, man, we might need to upgrade this position, which is pretty impressive for our front office but the injuries caught up with us. But this year, safety, we could upgrade. Wide receiver, we could upgrade. Tight end, we could upgrade.
Were you not impressed with Harrison last year?
No, I liked him.
I thought he was like well above that, especially for a rookie, man. I mean,
yeah, you're right. For a rookie, definitely.
as long as he doesn't get hurt, we're fine.
Well, I mean, you need 11 guys to play, so I mean, you can't just roll out any scrub and just
Not 12.
Not 12. I mean, are they going to pick on Jared Wilson? Because we see good quarterbacks pick on DBs all the time. So our quarterback's going to pick on Jared Wilson like right off the bat. I think they probably will.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're smart, that's where you would go for.
Yeah. What do you think, when Tom Brady lines up under center and looks at our defense, where do you think he's going with the ball?
Well, that's where they've gone against us like past like
Moss?
18 years.
Well, they got to out-scheme. Their defense has to out-scheme the offense and roll the guy away or bring.
What about Ramsey being brought over to safety like he did at FSU?
Yeah, and what's his name? Ronnie Harrison played a lot more free safety last year than people think. I mean, he played some strong safety, but they rolled him into the middle thirds a lot. So, I mean, who knows what they're doing, honestly,
I mean,
until we see their
I think we do because I think a lot of the players they have are multi-position players. They can play different positions, different slots, different. I'm not going to go into detail because I don't know the detail, but I constantly hear, hey, this guy can play here and here. This guy can play here and here. So I think the scheme next year is going to be a lot more different and complex than it was this past year.
You know, and they didn't let Gibson go, at least without them feeling confident in the personnel that they had.
No, because he was a solid dude.
Yeah, he
with
was.
solid numbers.
Right. So clearly they are comfortable, you know, with the guys that they have. They didn't go out and draft a safety, so did they? I mean, no.
No.
So,
that was the biggest thing people talked about.
Right. And so they're clearly comfortable with who they have going forward. So that has to say something, you know. It's very hard to have talent and depth at every single position group on a team. It's just
it's impossible.
It's impossible. So safety for
unless
the
you're the
Jags.
Rams because you have a different cap than everybody else.
Right. Well, they're in LA, and you know, it's conspiracy theory.
Yeah, you know, I love that. Older you get,
Me too. The weather is a conspiracy theory.
all right. Chemtrails.
All right. Well, before we get to the next question, I just want to check and make sure everything's working.
Yeah,
right.
go
so
ahead.
Give us a quick second.
This is the stuff you only get to see.
Conspiracy theory. I just got cut off. Jason's like, you're done.
Yeah.
It was kind of like behind the scenes. I was like live action.
Yeah,
Like,
you
hey,
guys see
that
who does
goes
all the
on.
real work around here.
Yeah, it's Jason.
It's true.
It is true.
not denying that at all.
So ready for the next question?
Yes.
This one's from Jason, and he's at RatHCP. He says, pick two that you believe will get. That's kind of it could be a loaded question because he says pick two they'll get an extension. But I'll rephrase it. Pick the first two that you believe will get a contract extension out of these: Ramsey, Jack, or Yannick.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's Yannick and Ramsey.
Yeah, for sure.
You've got to restructure Yannick, maybe like a 2-3 year deal to make him happy at this point, so he gets paid. I mean, he's making like what, $600,000 a year,
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
and they just drafted a guy that's making more than him.
I'm just throwing this out there. What if they
Dude, there's no way Yannick's gone.
What if Yannick walks?
There's no way. Not happening.
I mean,
I don't think it's all that crazy.
What if he just plays terrible next year?
Well, that's a different ball game, but they're going to do that before the season's over.
Let me ask you this: last year, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rate his year? Just last year.
I don't think you can rate him on 1 year. Just last year, okay, fair enough. It was probably slightly above average, but his resume being in the NFL,
Yeah.
32 sacks.
No, I agree. No, okay. So
29
this is
and
what
a half.
James,
29, whatever.
This is what James
Close
is
enough.
saying, and this is kind of how I feel. I think James is saying last year we'll give him a 6 for his overall performance.
Yes.
Sure.
The year before that, he probably had like an 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So that puts him at an average of like 7.5, which is really, really good. I understand, especially for a third-round guy. But you just drafted a guy who plays his position and could give you 8, 9 rating at that position.
Who also has not proved himself in the NFL for
Well, that's why they may not be in
anything.
such a hurry to get this guy signed as people think. And so that's why I think must not be so quick because Miles Jack, you could get him for cheaper than. I mean, we're not talking mega contract for this guy, and Ramsey is a mega contract guy, but you got to get him re-signed. So it's not that crazy for me to believe that Jack and Ramsey would get a contract first, because this may be a prove it year for Ngakoue. Everybody wants to back the truck up for Ngakoue, and I understand.
It's got like Telvin 2.0 maybe.
No, not Talbot 2.0. I mean, I understand too why fans want to see Yanni get paid. We all do. He's been nothing but a consummate professional. He has played above his pay grade for the first 3 years. I think fans like when you find a diamond in the rough, and that's what he's been so far. As a third-round pick, exceeded everyone's expectations. Let's face it, he took Fowler's job from him, who was picked third overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been way better than advertised. But like Jason just said, just drafted Josh Allen. Everything. If he is as good as advertised, what do you do there?
How do you not reward a guy like that? What kind of message does that send to the rest of the team? To all those other draft picks that aren't number one draft picks that, hey, you work your butt off in camp, you do everything you're supposed to, you overperform, you out-earn your contract, then sorry, buddy, you're gone? That sends a horrible message.
I don't think anyone's saying that, but if I'm the front office, I wouldn't view it that way. I'd view it as we're going to let this guy play the contract out that he's signed and then reevaluate.
And let him be a free agent? He's going to get snapped up for like $1 bajillion.
Why can't we sign him to a max deal?
Because you're going to pay twice as much at that point.
No, it has to be the same.
No, I don't think so.
He wants the max deal now. He wants to get paid with DeMarcus Lawrence.
He might want the max deal, but you
with
don't have to pay him the max deal
whatever
now.
his name is from Kansas City. Frank. He wants that money.
So
what are
you
talking about?
don't think you could come to him with a lower than max deal right now and negotiate
I don't
something
think so.
at somewhat of a bargain?
I think he wants max. Yeah, I think he wants max. I mean, he's good, and the guy is.
You think he's worth max?
I don't.
I don't either.
That's my point. But edge rushers at his potential caliber are at such a premium that position tends to get overpaid.
But he's got to understand the position he's in. He had a slightly down year last year. He's got the best rookie drafted at his position. I think he would take a bargain deal. Not bargain, maybe a little bit above bargain.
Maybe. I don't think so, though.
I don't think he would either. I think that's.
I think
he would take that as a slap in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the day he came into the league, he had a chip on his shoulder. It's never going to be bigger than what it is this coming year. The fact that they drafted Josh Allen, which I still think was the right move to make. But I think he is going to be like, they got this young guy coming in trying to take not just my position, but my money as well, paying him more. So, this is, I don't think they are in a huge hurry to back up the truck for him. I think it's going to be, let's see what you can do. I would love it if they did pay him before the season. Don't get me wrong. Lock him in, get it out of the way. As long as they do Ramsey first, I think that needs to be number one on your list. Whether they do or not, I don't know. They picked up his fifth-year option. Gives them a little bit of time to negotiate. But to me, to answer the question, it's Ramsey, Unique, and I could see Miles Jack not being re-signed, honestly. I mean, he's been.
Well, you won't have to pay him what you're paying. I mean,
no, you don't. He's not going to take a max deal.
He played better than Telvin. I'd rather have him than Telvin at this point.
Oh, I would too.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, this goes back to what has been the conversation lately with the Jaguars is when you have a lot of good players, which on paper they do, you can't keep everybody. You can't pay everybody. So you have to start looking around and who is the most expendable, and you can make a case that Miles Jack is. I would still like to see him in his true position. I know we haven't seen that yet.
I don't see why there's any reason why you can't come into Ngakoue, make it a cap-friendly deal for at least this next year and the year after, and a boatload of signing bonus, and have him take that. Dude, he's young. 2 years guaranteed. I'm getting a ton of money up front. I'm making more than I did, and then I'll deal with whatever happens after 2 years. There's no reason why that can't happen.
I don't think he wants a deal that a team can get out of in 2 years, though. I mean,
why not? He's super young. He'll still make a boatload
because you can get hurt.
He's in the best position of his life right now.
This second contract is where you make your money.
Dude, you throw
it's where you have the longevity in the league. It's where you.
I get that, but his second contract would still be young at that point. This would be like a 1.5 year contract or 1.5 or whatever. You give him $20 million signing bonus. He makes more per year the next 2 years, and then he can do whatever he wants to if we don't want to re-sign him. I think they could work that out. They're good with that stuff. They're good at renegotiating that kind of thing.
Well, they're going to have to be with all the
His
contracts.
agent and his people are saying, what happens if you break your leg?
Yeah.
What happens if you do this. You're done.
Then you've got $20 million in the bank.
That's great, but they want.
What happens if they don't re-sign you and you break your ear this leg? You've got nothing.
I agree, which is why I hope that they sign him before the season starts. But I could see them slow playing it a little bit. Who knows what they're doing? They're not going to be the front office is not coming out in the media and say, well, we want to pay him, and this is what we're thinking we're going to do. They are talking about this. Okay, just because we're not hearing about it doesn't mean these discussions aren't happening. I think to think otherwise is a bit naive. So those discussions are happening. I believe 100%, along with Jalen. Miles, I don't know. I think they would want to sign him, but I don't think he's as...
not with those two guys. I mean, he's definitely on the back burner because of them, too.
We'll see.
I don't know. All right, well, this is from...
Did you answer that fully yourself?
Yeah, I said Jack and Ramsey.
Really? You think Jack first?
Only because Jack, you're not going to pay him what you're going to pay these guys, so you can get his deal done. I mean, he'll probably end up getting less than what Telvin got.
Make them even more mad?
No, because he's not getting the money that these guys are asking for. This guy, he's on a different tier as far as contracts go. Jalen and Ngakoue are like tier 1, back the truck up. I mean, Jack is like tier 2, tier 3 guy. So, I mean, those deals get done all the time.
It's actually like a really good question because I think Jalen kind of runs it. Does Jalen hold out if he doesn't? Because he could dictate everything.
I don't know. Jalen doesn't seem like that type of guy. He's too much of a competitor, I think. I think he'll get his deal done for Ngakoue. I mean, but who knows? All right, this comment's from Spurville17 on YouTube, and he says he's looking forward to seeing Quincy, and then he says we hope to keep Jack. He says hope we keep Jack, Ramsey, and Yannick. So he wants to keep all 3.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's everybody's ideal. It's whether or not we can or not.
And Quincy, he's referring to Quincy Williams, who is a safety out of Murray State, who is also an undrafted free agent, and. Or did we draft him?
Second, third round pick. He's our second, third round pick.
So we did draft a safety.
Yeah,
he's linebacker / safety.
I apologize. He's a safety. He's a safety.
Yeah, they had him listed at linebacker. It sounds like he's going to be safe. I don't know. Everyone that I've been hearing on the radio is referring to him as a linebacker.
No, he's a safety.
He's an assassin.
He's a safety for sure.
He's an assassin. Yeah. We'll just call him an AS. No, because he's going to be penalized every single time he tackles somebody.
If you watch his highlight films, I mean, he plays as like a box safety, but he definitely is a strong safety. Right. So I am too. I mean, if you don't, you should go back and actually, I'm gonna retweet it right now. I just retweeted his film, so go on our.
It's amazing.
Yeah, his film. I mean, he looks like I call him a human hit stick.
Yeah, he's a missile.
People, yeah. So I just retweeted it on our Twitter. So
the question is, are the hits legal?
No,
half of them.
Literally half.
Yeah, half of them. Yeah. But the point is he's that aggressive. He's there that quick, and again, it's not NFL type talent, but. He obviously has a nose for – it's like a guy who rebounds just instinctively. He has a nose for being in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
And they can teach him to tackle right. I mean –
That's a good analogy there, Joey.
Wow, appreciate that. It's almost
I
know what I'm talking about.
Mic
drop, I'm done.
Yeah. Good night, Joey.
But, I mean, I hope so. I mean, he's going to be unbelievable in special teams either way. And I think he has an opportunity to come in on certain, plays and shock people. Exciting. Now, there's nothing better than lighting somebody up, man.
Okay, here's another question.
I agree.
That goes another question that goes along with, Joey always ends the conversation.
He does.
It's like, okay, after that, let's just move on.
I think you cut me off on the contract conversation. I'm not real sure about that.
All right, so this is another which will happen first from Patrick Jackson. He's at @radius_Johansson. He says, what happens first, an Hawkinson catch or an Allen tackle?
I'm just glad Patrick didn't die from the, what were they? Moths? No, not moths.
No, they were
caterpillar.
Yeah,
the poisonous caterpillar. So I'm glad you're still alive, buddy. Thank you.
He says he could also ask Hawkinson touchdown or Allen sack. Which one happens first?
That's a better question.
That's a better question. I'm going to say Allen for both. Well, actually, no. I'll give Hawkinson the catch, but I'll give Allen the sack.
What? Yeah, obviously. He's asking which one happens first.
No. But you said TD or so if it's catch versus tackle,
okay,
I'll say Hawkinson. If it's touchdown versus sack, I'll say Allen.
Okay.
I mean, I think Hawkinson's going to get more plays initially.
Yeah, he's going to be on the field more, and I think
a lot more. He's getting more opportunities, so definitely catch. Absolutely catch before tackle. That's what it was?
Yes.
Yeah, he's playing in an offense that just throws the ball like a billion times.
Yeah, so I mean, I think maybe both on Hawkinson because, again, I wanted Hawkinson on our team. But
although, I mean, the last time they drafted a tight end in the top 10, the Lions, that is, did not do well there, and then goes to Indy and had a career year this past year, Eric Ebron.
That's a great point.
There's something to be said about that. Obviously, the coaches are different and all that stuff, but,
Plus, Hawkinson looks like a goober, and Allen doesn't. So I'm going to go with Allen.
You've turned on him quickly.
No,
No,
I
I'm with
still
your
on
boy
my
for like
team.
3
but
months.
I'm with Joey there. When I saw a picture of him and I saw his gooberness, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm out.
It's not impressive.
Yeah, I actually sent it across our group chat. I was
Try selling
I remember
I was
advertising.
that.
that underwhelmed.
Try
I was
selling
like,
advertising for that guy.
Yeah, this guy is a baller. Is he? Can he even catch a football?
Yeah. Looks like he sells refrigerators at Lowe's.
Also, we haven't talked about Carson Meyer, the undrafted free agent rookie tight end out of Oklahoma.
Probably for good reason.
Dude, he was a fullback in college. He's 6'5", 260.
6'5" fullback?
6'5", 260. Fullback.
Tight end. Wait, you said tight
He
end.
was a
right?
fullback in
Well,
high
he's
school.
tight end for us.
Okay.
No, he was fullback in college.
Oh, college.
So he literally is changing positions.
Hmm.
So do you think that's another blocking tight end? Do you think he pushes? Does he? Here's the big question. Do you think he pushes Jeff Swaim for that blocking tight end role?
No. I'm not going to give any attention to an undrafted free agent
This-
until
this-
the Jaguars sign them. Until then, I don't care.
Alan Hearns.
I know, that's what we always go back to.
O'Shaughnessy.
Oh, my Lord.
The
Keelan
list goes-
Cole, I
Keelan
get it.
Cole.
I get it.
Jadon Mickens.
Jadon-
Lived in his car, James.
Jared
Lived
Wilson.
in his car.
Jared Wilson. Look
Might still be.
Is again. It's a much nicer car now, though.
Got a conversion van.
Dude, I think we should talk more about our actual tight end we drafted because
at Josh Olson.
That's a good.
that guy
Joey's on fire tonight.
actually, I mean, again,
But
after
my question was
Josh
about
Oliver.
the blocking tight end.
Okay,
role.
well, I mean,
okay. No.
You
you're
answer
right.
that one
No,
'cause
you're
I'm
right.
falling asleep
I was
over here on that
joking.
one.
Go ahead. You're right.
I
Answer
mean,
the question.
again, we watched the tape on that guy after the last podcast, and I mean, honestly, I don't even know who he played for in college still, but
San Jose State.
yeah, exactly. Never watched him, never
No.
cared. I mean, he came in as like, you
That's
know,
some crackpot research right there.
yeah,
No, I watched the
I did-
film with Joey. We did a film.
we
breakdown
both did,
session.
and we were both
Yeah.
like, oh my Lord, like this guy, like, there's no like, he's got to learn a lot. He's got to learn all kinds of stuff, but
Yeah.
the dude
Like
catches
blocking.
everything that's thrown to him.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
You remember how strong his hands?
Yeah, dude,
looked?
it was amazing.
Dude,
It was
the
like,
dude, like-
his like radius is huge. His hands are like catches everything, even if he's not in the right position. But then he falls down.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's
I
a
mean, he's
tight
got a
end.
lot of work.
That's a modern NFL
yeah,
tight end for you.
But I think he is going to be a lot better than people think. Like I was very pleased after I watched that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I saw some film of his, and I mean, look, yeah, he's got to learn how to block better, but that's not why they drafted him.
No, yeah.
They drafted him to catch the ball, and he can do that, and they did it in the 3rd round.
Yes.
Which I am very happy about.
Dude can definitely catch the ball without a doubt.
But the thing is, like when he's on the field, it's like okay, it's a pass play. You know, like
Yeah.
like it's not like he gives you no threat at all of running the ball.
Or he's a decoy, and then Leonard Fournette runs
Or he could be a
60-yarder.
downfield blocker too, though. I mean, right?
You know who else was with that same type of player?
Jason said that was stupid. Go ahead.
You know who is the exact tight end that Josh Olson is?
Oliver.
Ah,
Oliver is.
Yes, I got one.
nice.
Usually that's me.
Oliver. Austin Swearingen-Jenkins. Same tight end. Remember what we said when we signed him?
Yeah.
Dude cannot block.
Yeah.
Brought
Yeah.
in another tight end to block. Only was a move tight end.
Yeah, but minus all the
I'll say
off
Oliver
the field
seems
issues.
faster. He seems
Yeah,
leaner.
oh, yeah. Oh,
You
he's
know,
younger.
And he's
body
only
type.
played tight
Yeah.
end for like a
Yeah.
week and a half.
Who, Oliver?
Oh, I'm sorry. The guy on our team that we drafted.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Oliver.
Oliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
a joke. Like a week and a half.
Oh,
Like,
you're talking about my boy Carson Meyer, who was the fullback.
no, I'm talking about the 3rd round draft pick we had.
He was
Josh Oliver.
He was a tight end. I mean,
I know it was a joke though. Like he
Oh.
converted to tight end like his freshman year in
And it was-
college.
hey,
oh yeah, he did.
Joey,
Yeah.
he did.
It was a good joke.
No,
It was a joke that went right over somebody's
head.
head.
He's right.
The dude didn't even play
you said
tight end
2
in
weeks
high
ago.
school. I know it was a joke. It was
Okay.
an exaggeration.
Okay.
Like he's only played tight end for a short
He
period of
did.
time at a small
You're right,
school,
right,
and
right.
he still looks freaking amazing.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was.
that's
He was.
awesome.
He was recruited as a D end. Joey hit this one.
It's actually a good point,
Joey
James.
is on fire tonight.
Yeah.
Joey is on fire tonight. But I missed the joke.
I know
though.
my funniest jokes are when I have to tell people 5 times that it was a joke.
No, that wasn't a good joke. That was a good point.
it's more of a point.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you
that
go.
was good. No, he
Hey, no, it was a joke. If you didn't catch it the first 6 times.
he converted
Can
from.
we get back to that joke and
Yeah.
everybody laugh?
All right, let's move on to another question. I mean, this is I don't know where we are now. Okay, this
Do you need to check to make sure everything's recording well?
Yeah.
Because-
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I think we're good.
That was a
Again.
joke.
Another joke.
It was a joke.
We can't edit out YouTube Live.
No,
so
you can't.
people are
It
just
is what
gonna-
it is.
People are going to get
And
off.
this is why I was against it to begin with.
This is all the terrible jokes you don't hear on the podcast.
Exactly.
All right, this next question is from Pete, and he's at Coach L Tweets. I like Pete's tweets. Pete's good. Pete always asks good questions.
tweets.
Shout out to you, Pete. He says he read about the possibility of Josh Allen playing Sam linebacker in some base situations. Do y'all think he has the skill to thrive in that role? Can he be a Khalil Mack type player?
Do you want to start that one?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I hope he's a Khalil Mack type player. I don't think he is, but I hope. I don't know if he's as disruptive to the entire game the way Khalil is. Khalil Mack is like basically, he's the most disruptful defensive player I might have ever seen, except for like J.J. Watt's like prime.
Mm-hmm.
Like these guys like are disrupt. Like they affect every single play. If it's a pass play,
It's
they're
like a
batting
Lawrence
it.
Taylor or like a
exactly.
Reggie White or something
whatever
like
you
that.
old guys watched when you were
all-timer.
young. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing though. There's only so many of those players. It's no joke.
No.
That's serious, James. I don't mess around about old school
Yeah.
players.
Yeah, easy.
Okay, so I don't think he's Khalil Mack. Also, Khalil Mack plays in the 3-4s, basically the role that Josh Allen played when he was in college. But
Explain the Sam for our listeners who don't know what that means.
Okay,
before we
so-
even go any further.
And for me, because
okay,
I'm
so
lost.
it gets tricky here though because we got to talk about which scheme we're talking about. In the Jags 4-3 base scheme they've ran traditionally, which is 4 D linemen and 3 linebackers. The Sam backer plays on the strong side. So if there's a tight end or an extra lineman or a fullback offset to that side, the Sam backer would play that spot. And the Sam backer basically has to be able to be effective in run situations.
And the
Because
Sam is the strong side is the right side.
the strong side is wherever the tight end or the formation or
Is like guiding them to.
yeah. So basically, every coach is different. Most coaches say that the strong side is where if the side the tight end's on.
Okay.
Sometimes there's no tight end and they'll have a second wide receiver. Then sometimes that could be the strong side. If they have a fullback and he's offset to a certain side, that could be the strong side.
Gotcha.
Some coaches
Wherever there's extra help.
Some coaches do wherever there's the most field is the weak side, and wherever there's the least field, depending on the hash, is the strong side. Because usually you try to pass into the space and you pass into the weak side. It's complicated.
Yeah, that is.
Basically, the sandbacker plays on the strong side. Traditionally, that's a guy that's good against the run. Traditionally, or can cover a tight end, depending on the tight end they have. So you can see where it's complicated. In a 3-4 defense, where there's 3 defensive linemen, it's called an odd man front, and 4 linebackers. The sandbacker now is that backer on the strong side, but he's more of an edge rusher if it ends up being a pass down. He also has to scrape down the line basically meaning like get behind the O line and like not let anything cut backside. If the running back stops and cuts back, the sandbacker has to make sure he gets turned back into the field. So
Let me throw this out there just
Okay.
with that.
Okay.
So like Steelers would run a 3-4 because they typically have exotic rush packages with safeties, DBs, stuff like that. We do not because we want our 4 to get pressure and we want the others in coverage.
No, the exotic blitz packages has nothing to
Nothing?
do with it.
All right. I mean,
okay. The only
You had me convinced.
the
If Jason wasn't here, everybody would have bought into that.
Yeah, I know. I did.
so
So
basically
why do one or the other then?
because it's in your personnel typically,
Okay.
or what your coach prefers to run and then gets that personnel to fit his scheme.
But isn't it all
Basically,
about getting to the quarterback?
and sometimes
Okay.
if you're in a 3-3-5, it's not, but we won't go there. Okay, so if you have 3 D linemen and you have a big fat guy that plays over the center, that's a 3-4. So if you have a big,
Which we do.
no, I'm talking like Vince Wilfork.
Okay,
I'm
gotcha.
talking about these big fat guys, and basically you just can't move those guys, so they can 2-gap, so they can make sure nothing gets run up the middle. So if you have a big fat guy and you have 2 strong D linemen and you have 4 athletic linebackers, you run a 3-4.
Okay.
If you want 4 athletic D linemen that can knife and get pressure or play the run, and then 3 linebackers to cover and fill gaps, you run a 4-3.
Oh,
So
that was simple.
to answer the question, yes, he could play the Sam backer. I don't know if he's strong enough right now to be like mega Pro Bowler, but I think he could get there because he's got a good frame. So that answers his question. Coach L tweets.
I think they're going to look for ways to get him on the field. They picked him 7th overall. He's incredibly athletic, incredibly strong. They're going to want to play him more than just those nickel packages where, it's obvious passing downs. So I think it's a very big possibility. That's my short answer.
Any thoughts, Joey, on the Sam backer and the technique they're going to be
I think
playing?
with him, the problem he's going to have is coming from Kentucky, is that he was
A
so
3-4
good
backer.
at one thing, and they just rode that into the ground. I don't think he got enough opportunities trying other stuff because they had to have him doing that because they didn't have other people to cover for him. So I do think he is capable of it. I just don't think it's going to be next year. It's going to be a progression as he gets stronger and learns more and gets coached up and all that.
That's a good point.
For those of you that are listening and watching, this may be Joey's best podcast he's ever done in his entire life.
Without a doubt.
That was also a very good
Without
point.
a doubt.
Yeah.
Even though I got ragged for like 10 solid minutes.
No, you're doing pretty good tonight. This is
All
the
right.
one you're going to put in your archive.
Fair enough.
You're going to want to show the kids.
This is
one.
going on my resume,
One time, kids, I recorded episode 66.
which I don't even know what episode it is. I can't go back to it. Is it 66 or 67?
It could have been any of them, but Superhood 1800 says Duval go Jags.
All right, love it.
Duval Superhood.
Is that a tweet or is that a
It's
YouTube? All right.
It's YouTube. Yeah.
Super.
Yeah. Thanks, Super.
Like it.
1800. All right. Man, we're getting a lot of action on that retweet about Quincy Williams. I need to do that more often. Okay. This next question is from, and I like this one. It has not a lot to do with sports, but let's
right.
change it up a little bit. This is from Darren Frazier, and he's at TD Frazi. And he says, hearing Miles Jack is making homemade candles, what are the best candle names for his scents?
That's the best question I've ever heard in my entire life.
Gosh, I have to think about that.
Wow, like that might be something we have to address next podcast because I got to devote some time.
Yeah.
I devoted like 20 minutes to trying to think of something like punny to this.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of anything.
I mean, it has to be something like.
Miles from home. You know, just something like that. Off the top of my head.
Are we just looking for a name or
Like-
like a combination of scents?
Yeah.
Like Jack and Jill. Something, you know.
Something like, yeah.
Wow.
Anything?
Something's brewing in the kitchen. He's a UCLA guy.
How about
It's on top of my head.
I'm deferring to James on this one because he's doing way better.
how about winter disappointment?
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
What was it? Wouldn't it have to be something about like
How about
not being
is
down?
fine, you know, something like that.
how about I don't know.
See, I didn't know he was making candles. I'm still trying.
He is. And Darren posted a link to his Instagram account of they making candles.
Hey, are these soy candles? Like they're the good ones you can burn without killing all your kids and everything?
Let's see here. According to it's called the Instagram is handmade 44 Jack, and he has 483 followers, and he's following one person.
I was
not
gonna say,
bad.
like, what about like something like 44 Red Bulls?
So he's not just like a
That's
Scentsy.
good.
He's not like a Scentsy rep or anything like that. He like actually hand makes his own candles.
Yes.
I take
Yes.
everything I said about him earlier back, and they need to back the truck up and pay that man.
I mean,
If you are
that's
a
amazing.
linebacker in the NFL in the offseason, you are making
Yeah.
candles.
Hey Jack,
That is awesome.
how do you
Yeah.
keep yourself sane and like level? I make candles in my off time, bro.
That reminds me of the
He's.
Office.
I was gonna say. I was just about. To, that was what was coming out of my mouth. He
Yeah.
is Jan.
Okay.
What do they go for? I can't end that.
If,
What do they go
if
for?
people hand make them, they're kind of expensive.
They're like $30 a candle.
more than that, man.
Really?
Yankee candles are like 30.
All
Man.
right.
People home make them and
I
junk.
wonder if he would make another Jags podcast candle.
Oh,
Oh, that's probably pretty
dude,
expensive.
I bet if you messaged
It
him
would
and asked
stink.
him, he would make one. If it's his thing,
All right.
we should do that.
I'll ask
We
him.
got nothing to lose.
Give it a go,
Yeah.
and then we can do a contest to name it.
Wow. Joey is like.
Golly, who are
Wait,
you?
wait. We need to get a list of
Yeah.
everything Joey ate and drank before this podcast.
Jeez.
And we need
You know
to-
what? I figured it out. Tomorrow's his birthday.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, happy
So
birthday,
maybe
Joey.
maybe that's
Happy
it.
birthday.
That's what it is.
Is that what it is? You feeling good?
I don't know about getting a year older, feeling good, but
Man, I think we need to, like, whatever we did tonight, do every night.
the same thing.
Jeez.
Yeah, the same thing.
All right.
All right. Well, let's move on to another question because Joey's just killing it. So
Yeah.
let's just see what he says. And we'll let Joey answer this one first.
Yeah.
This is Andrew Charles, and he's at Charles Sack 2. And he says, or no, I'm sorry, Charles ASC 2. I would hate to misread his handle.
That's
Okay.
completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jason is now Joey, and Joey is now Jason.
All right, Zach. What was the question?
Okay, he says now that we have a top 3 defense and our offense actually has an actual quarterback and healthy and reasonable talented offensive line, am I being unreasonable expecting the playoffs this season as a minimum?
That's the hope, right? I mean, that's everybody's hope. But the problem is that our division is not the division it was 2-3 years ago. Everybody else in our division's gotten better. So,
Debatable.
okay, Luck's back. Their defense got good. I mean, Titans got a new coach. Their
Titans
defense
are
got
looking-
better.
Titans are looking spicy.
I mean, Houston is still Houston somewhat, and they're getting older. But
Dude, the Titans drafted Jeffrey Simmons late in the first round.
Yeah.
They picked up Adam Humphries at wide receiver. They drafted a bunch of O linemen.
Let me just say this about the Titans. All right, the Titans are who they are until they get a different quarterback. Period.
What they are
they got
kryptonite.
No.
So
They are our kryptonite,
Yes.
but they don't.
Did you see who they signed as a backup?
No.
Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, okay. That's something. That is interesting.
Right, that's what I'm
but
saying.
I'm saying
They're making
until
some moves.
they do something at quarterback, they are going to be who we've seen them the last few years. And I agree, they had a good draft, which is not easy for me to say. I think the Colts are the real deal. I'll say that till the cows come home. I'm scared to death of them. I think they're going to compete for the AFC title and go to the Super Bowl. I think the Jags are going to. The question was playoffs at minimum. So that's minimum that's a big word right there. Like Joey said, that's the hope. Wild card maybe, but I'm going to say this. I think the Texans take a huge step backwards this next year. They had a terrible draft. Like, I think they had a bad draft. And Deshaun Watson didn't overly impress this past year. The running game, I think, is a little suspect. Who they have is DeAndre Hopkins, who is the best wide receiver in the NFL. I just don't see them being there. But, to answer your question, the hope is playoffs. You don't pay a quarterback $88 million to finish third in the division. So I'm not saying they're not going to. I'm just saying that's not what the hope.
That's a good point. I mean,
playoffs has got to be what they're shooting for. How they get it, whether it's wild card or winning the division, that remains to be seen. But that's got to be the hope.
To answer the question directly, I think that if
Saying I answered it indirectly?
No, not at all. I'm just saying I usually don't. So to answer the question directly, I think that if everybody remains healthy and our defense gets the not so much lucky breaks, some of them, but gets the touchdown production even close to what it was 2 years ago, yes, we absolutely make the playoffs again.
Would you say law of averages that we will be healthier this year?
Absolutely. You couldn't be more unhealthy than we were last year. So
and that was kind of our concern going into last year. Is like we were so healthy in 2017. We're going to have to get injured.
Well, actually, Jason said injuries are like normal. Like you got to expect that.
I did.
You do. But that was insane injuries.
Yeah, it was bad.
Was that another joke, Joey?
That was just another fact.
All right.
I'm really tired.
Let's see here.
These questions are like some of the best questions ever.
Yeah.
Though. I have to agree.
Yep. Well, actually, let's see here. This question is from Brent Papineau, and he's on YouTube. And he says, over under 5 on number of sacks for Allen.
Over.
That's
5.5.
great
I think he can
over
get
number.
I think he can get 5.5. I do. That's
like
over?
a very thin line to
But that makes money.
bet the over.
I think it's a great
I'm
like,
saying- I'm
number
saying-
for the over.
So you would bet money because if you think he's going to get 0.5 over the over under.
I'm saying I think he will get at least 5.5.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's what he will get.
I'd be curious.
I'm saying that he will at least get 5.5.
Does Vegas have those kind of prop bets out now?
Probably not on a guy like him.
Because I mean that's a great number. I think. I mean 5's pretty dead on. I mean I think 5 is a
I
great
think 6
season.
is a better. I think 6 is a
You
better
think so?
number. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
If we get 6 sacks out of him, then man, that's great.
I mean, he's the top player.
I see
It's
him
not like
get-
he's
Yeah.
a guy that we picked up like 29
I get that.
overall in the first round.
17 and a half
I see
last
him
year.
getting a lot.
17 and a half.
I see him getting a lot of pressures and other people getting the sacks for it.
He's already been slated by a couple people predicted to make the all-rookie team. I mean, like there's stuff being said about this guy. Jay Glazer of Fox Sports said he was the steal of the entire first round. Not the best pick for the Jags, but the first round, the steal was him.
I disagree.
Well, I mean that's I'm just saying there's buzz out there. Whether it's true or not, you could argue.
If he proves me wrong and he can run around and outside of everybody in the NFL like he did in college, then the dude will have 10 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it happening.
What I love about him is, most guys that are getting, like you look at Bosa for the 49ers, yeah, he's there's some guys on that defensive line, but opposing offenses aren't going to be able to cue in on him because we have such a good defense around him. That is a huge advantage to him. So he's coming into a good situation, and so much of how you do in the NFL, how you fare, is situational. And I think he is coming into a very good situation. So I'll just leave it at that.
That's a great point because he was double teamed in college all the time.
Right.
And still put up 17 and a half sacks. So that's pretty important.
Yeah.
Just impressive.
If you're an opposing coach in the SEC and you're playing Kentucky, the first thing you're saying to your offensive coordinator is figure out how to stop.
That's all you're
41.
worried about. That's all you're worried about.
Yeah, that's
it.
And people couldn't do it. So I think that speaks volumes for
So
him.
I have to say, I think 5's low. I'm going to go with the over as well.
Yeah, I'm taking the over there as well. Okay, this next question was over under 20 touchdown passes for Foles.
God, it better be over.
Yeah. It had better.
I mean,
I hope so.
man, if it's not, we're in trouble. Unless Fournette just like blows up and
Yeah.
our line
We do have
is
a really
better than
good
it was
run
2 years
blocking
ago.
right tackle.
Hey, I mean, our line was above average 2 years ago, and if they're back and cohesive and we've improved it, and Fournette just grinds it out, if he doesn't have to throw more than 20, then great. But I see him throwing over 20.
Yeah, I hope he does.
He better.
Yeah, he better. I mean, if he doesn't, then that's Caldwell's job, right?
I guess with that being said, though, like to who? So that means like
Yeah,
what?
that's what I was
D.D.
thinking,
Westbrook's
like,
got 8 touchdowns. Our
Josh
rookie
Oliver
tight ends.
has
Josh Oliver,
12,
I was about to
15?
go there. Yeah.
That's what I'm
20?
saying. Like that means
Yeah.
Sets a tight end record for
That's
a single
right.
season.
the whole good quarterback
Okay,
makes
I got
everyone
an
run
over
better.
for you. Over under 2 touchdown passes, Gardner Minshew,
Preseason or regular season?
regular season.
That assumes that the Jags are playing garbage time games.
Or Foles is hurt.
Foles is hurt, so I'll say over. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Foles is going to go out at some point. I would have to assume half a game, something. Minshew will come in,
I
and
think
it'll be
Kessler
garbage
had,
time.
like, 1.
That's because he couldn't throw the ball to a receiver or more than 10 yards.
That's true, dude. Can you imagine throwing to Blake Bell and like these scrub receivers?
Especially when you have, 0.5 seconds to get
Especially
rid of
after
ball?
the second
Yeah.
time you drop back, you got
Yeah.
crushed.
Yeah, that's terrible.
No, I think Minshew will probably come in and do something crazy. So, yeah, I can see that. More than 2.
Patrick Jackson made a point. He says it's a tough division and we have a tough schedule, so that's a harsh minimum of playoffs in his view.
Our schedule is ridiculous.
It is.
So
Yeah, minimum's that's a tough word in that question. Can I pause for a second and go back?
Sure.
Are you going to go? We have the second preseason game at home and the fourth preseason game. The fourth preseason game is garbage
Ooh, am I gonna go
of
to
a
the
game.
fourth
Are you
preseason
going to
game?
go just to watch Gardner play?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not do it. Oh, no, I'll go.
You will or won't?
Yeah, I will, but not
Okay.
just for Gardner.
Not just for.
You're going to go to the 4th preseason game?
Yeah.
And you might be the biggest Jaguar
but
fan.
to be
I
fair,
know.
I'll probably leave in the third quarter.
Third quarter?
Yeah.
Leaving like halfway through the second.
No, I'll leave in third quarter.
How about this as an over/under? Third quarter, 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Jason leaves.
I'm gone before that.
No, I think you stay. I think you're going to stay till the end of the
If
game.
Gardner's still playing, I might stay.
No, because all of a sudden these guys are going to, you know what? I actually want to see these guys. Yeah, I read about them the other day. I think you stay till the 2-minute warning of the fourth quarter.
Gardner
Maybe.
might throw 3 touchdowns to a wide receiver that'll be selling cars a week
You know,
later, and it'll be the
honestly,
best story ever after
Now
that.
that I think about it, I think you're.
Yeah, okay.
I think you're
Thank
right.
you.
Because I can see myself staying till.
I'm already here.
Yeah. You know what? It's fun.
We got some people here I kind of
Yeah.
know.
Not playing again until next Sunday at home, so
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right.
that's a done deal.
What do you think about the running back position? So, right now we have Leonard Fournette, Alfred Blue, Raquel Armstead, Benny Cunningham. Do you think that Rawls makes the team? Thomas Rawls.
That would be 5 running backs on the roster.
Yeah.
See, maybe
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I
And
don't
that's
know.
assuming no tight end, no fullbacks on the team.
Who keeps 5 running backs?
I mean, and a fullback. That would count your fullback position as well. I don't
Who's
know.
the fullback though?
I mean, Dimitri Flowers is on the roster right now.
I think it's between him and Cunningham. I wouldn't hand it to Cunningham
Right.
quite yet.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Honestly, I don't care.
But okay, let's talk about something that have we talked about Telvin yet?
That's a great answer.
Was I
No, we
zoned out?
haven't.
Okay.
No, we haven't.
Can we talk about Telvin?
Yeah. Are we moving on from the running back? That was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of bored with that.
Yeah.
Do you think Raquel Armstead will get more touches than Alfred Blue?
I think Armstead will be the second running back.
Second running back?
Yeah. Well, Blue. Ooh, yes,
I
good.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Blue's,
I
a,
think
Blue's
it's
a big boy.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I think you're right. All right, Telvin. Joey, you're on fire tonight. Thoughts on Telvin?
Let me get started on Telvin.
He came out with a video today saying, Duval till we die. I love Duval, never leaving Duval. I'm staying Duval. He also looked
He was
maybe
also
a little
naked
bit-
and pretty high, right?
Laramie
Yeah.
Tunsil.
He was also on that Laramie Tunsil workout plan. So, what are your thoughts on that, Joey?
I thought from like day one when he wasn't returning his coach's phone calls that was a problem. I don't care if you have to be there or not. If your boss calls you, you respond. Say, hey, I'm doing this. I'll be there wherever. That didn't happen. Kept building from there. And then you have, I mean, I'm going to have to, you know, Hayes Carline, 10-10, he's got all kinds of, like, inside, he sees the players after every game. And literally said, like, it was kind of like a side nugget, like in a conversation, but said that as soon as he got his contract and got paid, going in for access and interviews was completely different. Like, beforehand, he was open to everybody, you know, a nice guy, like, make jokes with you, answer all your questions. As soon as he got paid, wouldn't answer anybody's questions, wouldn't talk to anybody, was up, like, just a completely different guy. So, I mean, I have to, like, go with that. I mean, that confirms the locker room issues that last year seemed like a little bit of him. Now everybody's saying it was a lot of him. The fact that, I mean, it's a big deal, man. It's an issue.
Regardless, if I'm the NFL and I've seen that video, which I'm sure they have, I'm saying go find him and random drug test him right now.
What would that do with his contract? Because I didn't see the video. Apparently it was pretty bad.
I don't know what it does to his contract, but I know it would, if he's, you know, if it comes back positive, that's a 4-game suspension. So I would imagine, you know. So
how does that help us though?
It doesn't. That's what but I'm just saying, like, he's doing everything wrong that you can do in an off season. That when he missed, like I thought it was a
that said it right there.
No, that was a good point.
That said it right there.
That was a good point.
You couldn't do any worse in an off season than he's done.
He couldn't be. And this was a non-story at first. I thought. I was like, you know, he's not going to voluntary. It's voluntary. Big deal,
yeah,
you know.
Care enough to like make up an answer.
Man, make it as bad for yourself as you possibly can. Follow what he's been doing. And is with every day that goes by, this story gets weirder and weirder and more concerning, to the point where I went from thinking non-story, it's April, whatever, to now I think there's a very good chance that he's not on the team at the beginning of this season.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy.
There's a rumor going out around there. There's a rumor going around out there about how he might pull a Patrick Willis and is thinking about retirement.
How do you retire in your fourth year?
Patrick Willis retired super early. I mean, the dude made decent money to live off of, realized the toll that hitting people in a car crash every other play did to his body.
Patrick Willis was, I would say, better than.
Yeah, I'm looking at guys like Barry Sanders, dude. I mean, like these guys. Like, I mean, these guys. Some people take an introspective look and they're like, I had the rest of my life to live. I have enough money to live off of, and they bail.
Okay, I completely get that. Then be a man about it and make an adult decision and make that call prior to the draft.
Time to make decisions. Some people need time.
Really, we just gave you millions of dollars. Make that call before the draft, man. Be an adult. If that's your call,
I think you're oversimplifying it.
I'm not.
If that's the case, and it is a rumor, but if that's the case, I think you're oversimplifying it.
I doubt, dude. He could bank for 3 or 4 years and not do jack.
I mean, I don't believe, because I mean, he's one of the most competitive, hard-hitting guys on the team.
He always had a chip on his shoulder. I mean, that chip's just gone at this point.
I can't imagine all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to retire. I'm going to quit this thing that I've been passionate about my entire life. There's something to this story, and we don't know what it is yet. And I'm not sure if the front office knows or doesn't, but it's, you know.
I think the front office knows.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
I think they do know.
Is that literal or figurative?
Yes.
I think they do know, because they asked whether he was going to be on the team or not, and they were like, I don't know. You don't say that true. About.
I hope so. I think it was one of.
I hope so. Exactly. I mean, you don't say that about.
Yeah, that's true.
One of your starters who you just paid. There's definitely something behind the scenes. I have to agree with that, and I think it's a lot bigger than we think. Who knows, man? It's like a soap opera at this point. But you got to plan without him, right? At this point, you have to. If you're at Marone, you have to like base everything off the fact he's not going to be there, and that's tough, dude. That jacks things up.
It's going to be a lot clearer.
Hey,
in June.
That's his candle name.
There
Jacks things up.
Jacked up. It's going to be a lot more clear in June. I know it took him a while, but he got there.
No, I'm saying, man, this is like this is it for Joey, man. He's killing it.
When OTAs become mandatory in June, that's when this story is going to really come to light.
Yeah,
because that's when push comes to shove.
That's when you start getting fined.
Yeah. So until then, we just kind of have to wait. But if June rolls around and he's not reporting, then there is a serious, serious problem.
Okay, but what if he does report and he was part of the issue in the locker room last year and he's the same guy this year? I mean, do you write it out hoping that he shows up and plays and does well, or do you just send him out, like get rid of him?
I mean, in an ideal world, you bench him or cut him, but that's a lot of money.
God, man, that's such a hard decision.
You can't cut him.
No, I mean,
who's going to pick up that contract?
You can't cut him. I mean, you could trade him.
Really?
Trade him for nothing.
Are you really gonna just get rid of a player? I mean, is he that bad?
Apparently.
No, I can't think that's the case, man.
I mean, I would think
he's
you'd have
that bad in the locker room that they're willing to be like, okay, we got to either trade him for what we can get or not play him. I mean, that's bad. That's like
I have to
guys
agree,
like
but
T.O. could barely get there.
Yeah,
and you're telling
that's
me
a good
Telvin
point.
is.
That's a good point.
I mean, maybe he is. I think there's something. Again, I think there's something weird. Like I think he's thinking about retirement. That's the only thing I can justify. The dude's gotten paid. He's a top tier linebacker. He's getting paid like one. He had a bad year last year. We're still paying him. There's got to be something. There's rumors about child support and things like that. But
has his agent come out and said anything? Because
No,
you have to
no
think
one-
that
no.
guy would be like, dude.
I don't know, man.
Come on
It's
now.
just- it's weird.
I think you missed voluntary because it's voluntary, and he's kind of just been immature since then.
Yeah.
You know, this video didn't help. He should have returned calls, but you know, at the end of the day, he hasn't broken any rules yet that we know of for sure.
Right.
This video
He hasn't broken any
elucidates
official
certain
rules.
things. No, that's what I'm saying. Like again, it still could be a non-story, but we're gonna have to wait until June. Having said all that, he has not painted himself in a nice light since missing camp.
Like, do you really believe it's a non-story though, or that it will?
Technically,
let me
it
rephrase
is.
that. Do you really believe that it will turn out to be a non-story?
No, I think it is a story. But
Yeah.
technically, as of right now, today, it is a non-story.
Yeah, you're right. So I mean, it's one of those things. Cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But dang,
you
man,
know,
why, dude? Come on.
it's just weird.
Hopefully, there's nothing with him, like personally, like mentally, that is just a problem. Because
Yeah.
I mean, you don't make that switch like that, or a normal person typically does not make that switch. I mean, hopefully, it's nothing like really bad to him personally. Because I mean, I like the guy.
Yeah.
He gave us a great couple of years. I mean, he was one of the best players on the team, and
He's a fan favorite.
yeah, even though
Had a down year last year, but you know, and you know,
No.
I don't know. We don't know him from Adam. We don't know anything about him, but
I don't
You
think
guys,
there's
don't
a,
know, you guys don't know Telvin?
no, not
personally.
yet. Not yet. But a lot of money is
It does change
it
people.
can change people. It can.
I think
can
every
not
fan-
be all it's cracked up to be.
If money changed him like this, that's pathetic.
I have to agree, but
And it happens. But I had so much respect for Telvin. I can't believe that until, like you guys said, it becomes a story.
well, you know, we're just kind of grasping
Yeah.
at straws.
I think
right
even
now
at this
with
point, though, there's not a fan out there that doesn't want him to show up and come back.
If he shows up day one of mandatory camp,
Which is what day? Do we know? What's
that. It's
the
in
date on that?
June. It's like the
June.
second week of
Something?
June.
Okay.
if he shows up day one and he does his job and he plays well, does anybody care about this?
No.
Does this even get brought up again?
No.
No.
I agree.
Which is why he should have just picked up the phone and called.
He
because
said
then it would have
on
been
this-
over.
On the video, he said on the video, like, my phone's always on. He, like, made a point to address that. He was like, my phone's always on. Like, Eric's like, hit me up, my phone's on. He's like, said something like that.
Wow.
Was it like a burner phone from like the shell package from Walmart?
I'm just telling you what happened. He said something about how his phone's always on, or that he's.
He didn't re up his minutes.
It's
When-
weird. It's
when
weird.
Joey starts telling a joke, I've noticed this. When Joey starts telling a joke, halfway through, I realize he's telling a joke. I just zone out, and I'm just like, okay, we're just gonna wait for this to be done,
Next.
and then I'm just gonna get my point in that I was like going toward.
You
But
have your fun. All right, let's move on. That was
I
good
heard
for you.
burner phone. I was like, all right, what am I gonna say next?
Gives you a minute. Collect your thoughts.
It's true.
It only took you 66 episodes. I was there on the first one.
But you're gonna say something. You're about to say something. I'm sorry.
I know. I have no idea. Is that it?
That's a good
We're
break.
definitely out of Twitter questions.
I think that's it. I think that's the show.
Is it?
Yeah.
How long was
we're
that?
About an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it goes quick.
There you go.
And we didn't think we had much to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't.
Well, we will say next week is rookie mini camp. So the Josh Olivers, Josh Allen, guys like that, we'll be able to know a little bit more about them after next week.
Yeah.
Really, the big story will be no stories, meaning no injuries or anything like that. So
Want to be the undrafted rookie free agents?
I kind of tried to sprinkle them into this episode.
I know. I mean,
because-
James is refusing to even.
And he
like,
is. He
even-
really
like, they don't
is.
even exist.
I know. Alan Lazard hurt him too
It did.
bad.
It did.
Alan-
I had high hopes.
Alan Lazard cut him. He cut
Alan
us off
Hearn
deep.
spoiled us, and Alan Lazard just cut
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
But I think no, you're right. I mean, the problem is that in rookie camp, everybody looks good. You go,
That's
oh,
right.
man, this guy looks good.
That's true.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
they-
they're going against rookies.
the
A
guys-
lot of which are undrafted free agents.
And they're gonna get cut. You're right. Yeah.
So, anyway, but it's something to talk about. Get us
Yeah.
through May. So that'll be next week. Again, follow us on Twitter, Another Jags Pod, Facebook, Instagram, Another Jags Podcast, and YouTube, Another Jags Podcast. Anything else you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
You can go on YouTube and watch this live episode, or you can listen to our polished, edited podcast on Apple And we also post our podcast on YouTube. So if you like using YouTube to listen to podcasts, we will have our live episode and we'll have our polished podcast episode.
Can I throw this challenge out there to our listeners?
Yes.
Especially if you're on Twitter. Give us what you think Miles Jack should name his candles. Let's hear some of your suggestions.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're still putting a hard push on getting Gardner Minshew on. So everyone that's listening, I might have an in. I don't want to like tease you guys, but I might have an in with Gardner.
I think we
Minshew.
need to throw out there like, where does he hang out? If you guys know, let us know that as well.
Take it easy.
Jason will show up.
Take it easy. I've been known to be around some Jaguars quarterbacks in the past. That's
true.
all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
And I think I have a hookup with my boy Gardner. So
Will you wear jean shorts?
I will wear I'll wear anything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about starting wearing jean shorts now.
Yeah.
I mean, Gardner can.
Got to be a reason people are doing it.
So yeah,
Find out what that is.
we'll see.
All right. I think we can definitely say the MVP for tonight's show was Joey.
Yeah, he
That's
killed
first.
it. I'm gonna save this episode forever.
Yeah, I'm gonna be telling my kids about it. You won't believe it.
You already have kids.
Everyone gather
I'll
around.
be telling my
I'm
kids
telling them now. Yeah. I know what we're talking about at dinner tomorrow night.
The hard part is I don't know if they're making fun of me or complimenting me. So you guys take that for what it's worth.
Both.
You had
actually.
you had your high and low moments.
Yeah, enjoy it. It's your time to shine. This is Simba seeing all that the light touches. Well, that'll do it for episode 66. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And as always, go Jags.